Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is the show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I am Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Aditya Agarwala of Yes Securities, Gaurav Bissa of LKP Securities, and Brijesh Bhatia of Dealmoney Securities joins us on the show. Thank you to all for joining me on the show today. Before we take our guest the calls of a technical guest, let's go across to Jayesh Khilnani, who tells us about a pattern that the Bloomberg terminal has thrown up on stock. So Just Dial is the stock that Jayesh is speaking about. Jayesh, what are we seeing there?
That's right, Darshan. In fact, Just Dial is showing positive momentum as far as the fear and greed indicator is concerned. Now, let me just give you a backdrop of the fear and greed indicator. It's a proprietary Bloomberg indicator which uses the spread of two weighted moving averages of true range. It's very simple to interpret. You have to simply follow the color. You buy when it turns from red to green, and you sell when it turns from green to red. And if you have a look at the chart of Just Dial, that's the last 6-month chart, and you see that the bottom panel will show you the fear and greed indicator. The last bit over here today, that is a green spot over there. If we zoom into it, we'll see that it is on the verge of flipping from red to green. And if you have a look at the price movement also, in the last couple of months, the yellow line, which is the ascending triangle that is there, it in fact bounced back from the lower end of that triangle and is now headed upwards. So we'll have to wait and watch. If the actual green bar comes in on the fear and greed, then there would be a potential buy signal over there.
Okay, Jayesh, if you backtest this, what's the average return that this strategy has thrown up?
That's right. In the last 1 year, this strategy has given you a profit of about 15 to 16%.
Okay, 15 to 16%. That's the view that's coming in from the Bloomberg terminal. Let's ask our guests what they feel. Aditya, I'll start with you. What do you make of Just Dial?
I would agree with Jayesh on that. After a long consolidation, stock had given a long an up move, and after that, it's more of a pennant pattern that the stock has entered into right now. The moment it breaks out of that pennant, the uptrend will extend to levels of 640. To 640 is the first resistance that I'm looking at on the chart. The moment it breaks out of 640, I'm looking at much higher targets of 800 to about 825 as well.
Okay, so it's a positive view that's coming in from Aditya. Gaurav, what do you make of Just Dial? Do you agree with the Bloomberg terminal? Do you see positive trends coming in?
I also agree with the same view that if you look at the data for last 2 or 3 months, 600 call option commands are very high concentration, and once that is taken out, we can see some really good amount of short covering coming in that can propel it towards the low of 640, 650. That can be the immediate targets, talking about maybe 10 or 15 days. So yes, one can buy. For immediate hurdle, it will be around 585. One can even buy about 585. Then one can preempt a breakout happening around 600. So I think yes, it's a good stock and on the verge of a strong breakout.
Okay, on the verge of a breakout. And Brijesh, what's your view on Just Dial?
I would probably wait for a 600,
okay.
But the positive here is, if you look at the RSI has given strong support at around 4550 zone, and probably I will wait for 5560 to RSI cross, or maybe a price to cross around 600, which will be the better buy as of now for me. I would slightly cautious on this.
Okay, it's 3 different views that are coming in. 2 of our guests do believe that it's an accumulate, while Brijesh does believe that it's a wait and watch. He'll watch out once the stock crosses 600. But let's discuss our first stock with our guest. Minda Industries has resumed the uptrend. Will the stock continue the momentum? Let's ask Aditya. Aditya, we'll pull up the chart. You can come and join me here. So this is the chart. It's trading at 431 currently. What's the target and what are you trying to show in this chart?
Okay, so before I come to the target, I'll just point out why I'm bullish on the stock. So if you take a look at this consolidation that Minda had entered into post the sharp up move that the stock had seen. So this from this consolidation, stock has just broken out. This is close to about 525 to about 530 zone. This is just broken out from that consolidation. This is on the weekly chart. If it closes above this resistance this week, I'm looking at a target of 490 to about 520 in the coming weeks. One can keep a stop at 375, which is the low of this candle. So the moment it closes below the low of this candle, I'll be out from the strategy. At current levels, I'll buy for a target of 490 and 520. Coupled with that, if I take a look at the RSI has made a double bottom, and from there it has turned upwards, and it has also taken support at the 50 level, which indicates that there's strength in the stock when in corrections or consolidation. When RSI takes support either at 50 or 40, that is the lower end of the bull zone, and when RSI turns up from those levels, levels, it's a healthy indication that suggests that there is good strength in the stock and the upward momentum is likely to continue.
Okay, a couple of questions. If let's say the stock doesn't close above the yellow line today, is your strategy still valid, or would you not go ahead with it?
I will continue with my strategy until and unless this yellow line is broken on the downside,
okay,
which is 375.
Okay, you said the stock can move to levels of 520 if probably 440 or something, 435, 440 level
exactly.
Is broken. How much timeline is this strategy valid for? Will the move be very fast or will it be gradual?
So the move will be fast, because if you clearly take a look at the historical movement that the stock has given you, the up moves are very fast. One was out here. Look at this move, the weekly candle, the moves are very fast. Probably I'll give a time frame of 2 to 3 weeks maximum. The stock can move within 2 weeks to levels of 520 very easily.
Okay, so a bullish call coming in on Minda Industries. Thank you so much, Aditya. We'll ask our other guest, Gaurav, what do you make of Minda Industries? It's a bullish trend that Aditya spoken about. What's your view on this counter?
I agree with Aditya that the stock is on the cusp of a good breakout. The immediate hurdles of 435, 440, if that are taken out, then with a strong volume, we can expect 8 to 10% up move coming in next 7 to 8 trading sessions. It's trading above the all the major averages. That again gives you a degree of confidence. So I think yes, one can buy Minda. Probably at 435, 440, the degree of confidence will increase a little bit more, but it's on the verge of a breakout as well.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. 440 probably levels is something that Gaurav says that you should buy. And Brijesh, what's your view on Minda Industries?
Yeah, I would go for buy strategies. One, because if you look at the price structure, it's clearly higher lows. And second thing is we are witnessing a range shift in RSI. Third is MACD has given a positive crossover on daily with higher lows, and the couple of weeks back the strong volumes are still maintaining on the higher side. So thumbs up for a long side.
Okay, so it's a consensus positive view that's coming in on Minda Industries. So we'll keep a watch on Minda Industries. Aditya has a target of in excess of 500 for the counter, so we'll watch out for that counter. The next stock we want to talk about is Colgate, and that's let's pull up the chart of Colgate. Gaurav, you can join me here. It's a channel breakout strategy that you're saying. Can you explain us what the chart is and what are you recommending?
So Darshan, if you look at it, it's been trading in a 2-year channel pattern, and it's been respecting the lower band of channel quite well. It's been trading in a very beautiful channel. We have seen strong resistance coming over here. It's coming over there as well, and from there also we've seen a strong resistance coming over here. Whenever it has touched upon these levels, it has a high probability of touching the upper band again.
Okay.
So that comes to around 1280, 1300. And also if you look at the weekly average, it's trading near the 100 weekly average. That again is a positive sign.
Okay.
Right? And overall, if you look at the pattern over here, from here, we have seen the volume participation has been increasing as it trades from these levels and again sees a bounce back. So there's a great chance that this being a very low beta name, even if we see some correction or some consolidation coming in Nifty, this is not going to get too much of affected out of that. So there's a great possibility that we can use a stop loss of 1080. It can test levels of 1250. If that is taken out, 1300 is also quite possible.
Okay, so that's the view. How long is this strategy valid? By when do you see levels of 1280, 1300 coming in?
It is likely to test levels within a month. The reason is that we have already seen a correction coming in, and it's a very swift correction that we have seen over here. It's made a short-term bottom formation over here. If this is held within 24 to 30 days, we can expect a strong momentum coming in Kolpal.
Okay, so the chart that I am seeing currently, it always sees that at this level, the yellow line, the counter always manages to bounce back. Is that the strategy? If the level reaches at 1280, 1300, would you recommending exiting it, or do you see the momentum this time around that Colgate will break this yellow line?
At this point in time, I would suggest that if it comes to around 1280, 1300, one should book out, because then it will be preempting. I would not like to preempt whether it will break over here or not. At these levels, once it's trading near these levels, probably one can relook whether it's showing early signs of a breakout, or whether I would rather wait for a close above this level to hold on to the position and make a fresh long as well. But at today, if you're asking me, I would play only for 1280.
Are there any triggers that you see a breakout can probably come in?
I don't see it right now, no.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Colgate. Thank you so much, Gaurav. We'll ask our other guest. Brijesh, 1300 is the probable target that Gaurav sees on Colgate. What's your opinion on Colgate?
Yeah, I agree with Gaurav. A couple of things. If you look at the recent last expiry, the breakdown on 26, where prices have corrected from around 1140 to 1080, and we haven't seen any follow-up selling pressures coming in these stocks. And if you look at the MACD has again after the bounce price, MACD has given a positive crossover with strong volumes. So I think a strong buy towards 1250, 1300 can be expected on Colpal.
Okay, Aditya, what's your view on Colgate?
I would agree, stock is in a strong uptrend, but for me the first target will be 1280, 1275 to 1280. On the weekly chart, stock had made a bearish dark cloud cover pattern, sort of a pattern on the weekly charts. From there, stock has turned slightly weak, but at current levels, yes, I will buy for a first target of 1275 to 1280. If that is breached, then I'll play for a target of 1300.
Okay, yes, so that's the view that's coming in. Before we move to the next stock, Gaurav, just one quick question. You also follow a lot of FNO trends. What are the FNO trends? Are they supportive of this theory?
You know, if we are talking of Colpal in terms of futures, you will not see too much of volume or a lot of OI additions happening. But the only positive sign is that from the upper band, when we saw, there was not very significant short positions. That again gives you a sign that it was more of a selling pressure in terms of cash, but there were not significant short positions. There are mild longs that we are seeing right now, and that's again is a positive sign that after a brief period of consolidation, now some OI activity is picking up. So there's a sign. Option very liquid, but futures we are seeing some amount of OI addition happening over here.
Okay, so you'd suggest more on the cash side rather than the futures
because the supports are seen at 1080, 1100, and I do not want to play for such a long stop loss being in futures. You know, it can give you a 4 to 5% stop loss in futures would actually amount to around 30-40,000 per lot. That would not make too much of a sense, but in cash, it's a wonderful stock to buy.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Colgate. Let's move across to the next stock, and it's Brijesh who's talking about TVS Motors. If we can have the chart up, and Brijesh, you can join me and explain what is it that you're trying to say with TVS Motors. It's down in today's trade, post the numbers, but yes.
Yeah. So let's start with the year. Okay, we have seen a stock being in a strong downtrend after a recent high of around 800. The stock has already corrected. Okay, if you look at these Wyckoff, this whole pattern is a reaccumulation formation. So as per Wyckoff theory, after a strong selling, if you look at these selling pressures has been reduced over here. Okay. So the narrow ranges which are being, you are witnessing the narrow ranges over here. So the selling pressure is already being over, indicating that the pressures might come to an end. So now if you look at these 500 levels when prices corrected sharply, and you have, if you look at this recovery, okay, along with the divergence on the RSI, okay, and if you look at these volumes, okay, volumes are clearly picking up here at even if you look at the results day yesterday, previous day also we have seen a buying coming up, and the selling volumes where this were the selling bars, the selling volumes were reducing and the buying volumes are again increasing, which clearly indicates that the reaccumulation is happening in the stock.
Okay,
and I think with these 500 will act as a now strong support, and if you look at the OI, 500 is acting as a strong support. And if you look at the previous data also, the price has the history of retracing to 38.2 to 50% of the previous move. So this fall from 800 has recently around 50% fall. So I think this would be the base for the this stock, and you can expect around 600 levels on the upside.
Okay, 600 is the level on the upside. Just a couple of questions. How soon do you see 600 coming in?
Maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
And what's the stop loss? It's currently 530. What if someone
would place below 500, maybe 495 levels?
495. If I see the last two charts, what's happened here and here, the up move has been very sharp, but the down move has been slow, but it has been much more like a time bound correction. Yes. Similar is the thing that I've seen here. Can we expect the same thing? Why can't the same thing happen here?
So if you look at the clearly, the volume accumulation is happening over here, and if you look at this fall, these couple of falls, the volumes are already drying out.
Okay.
Okay, and they look at these volumes in this fall, which was indicating the higher side, and the volumes at the lower, this band is very much at the lower levels.
Okay.
So indicates the exhaustion from the bears are being the sign.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on TVS. Thank you so much, Brijesh. Gaurav, what's your view on TVS Motors?
It's trading in the support area. The only point of contention over is that today, if you look at the OI pattern, we have seen about 7.5% positions getting built. Probably these are the short positions from higher levels. We have seen stock correcting. It might consolidate a little bit more. I would buy it above 545, 550 because this is level from where we saw some amount of short positions getting built. Once it crosses 550, we can expect decent amount of short covering coming in, and it can push the stock towards the level of 575, 580. At these levels, I would wait for some amount of time above 545, 550. I think it's a good stock to buy.
Okay, so it's a wait and watch approach that's coming in from Gaurav, Bissa. And what's your view, Aditya? What did you make of TVS Motors?
I would agree with Gaurav. I would wait and watch before getting into the stock. Two reasons behind behind it. On the daily chart, RSI is not crossing 60. So it's been trying to cross this hurdle of 60 for quite some time. It's failed to do so in trade. Yesterday also it went up, RSI didn't cross 60, and today the stock is down. I believe stock can test levels of 510 to 500 again. So if that support holds, probably I'll go long in the stock. On the upside, again, 550 to 560 is a strong resistance zone. If that crosses, then probably I'll look at a target of 600.
Okay, so it's a buy recommendation that's coming in from Brijesh. He expects 600, but the other two guests are saying that, you know, they would want to see the momentum coming in at levels of 540 before taking any bet on TVS Motors. If that is taken out, you can see the levels that Brijesh spoke about. Let's take on to the next round, and the next stock that we want to talk about is TV Today, and that's the stock that Aditya has recommended. Let's pull up the stock, and Aditya, you can join me and indicate it's at 445 currently. What is it that you're seeing here?
So if you, I'll start with a little background. The stock has been in a strong uptrend from 250 odd levels, and post that uptrend, which halted at 550, stock went into a downward sloping channel. And if you take a look at the resistances that the channel has been facing, is close to about 450. In trade today, it made an attempt to cross that upper end of the channel, but so far it's not done so. And what makes me bullish on the stock is the fact that the RSI is now crossing above 50. So it has taken support at 45, and now it has started to cross above 50. And on the daily chart, if I take a look at the candlestick pattern, that shows me a bullish momentum which is picking up in the stock. Third, what makes me bullish is the lows out here. So if I take a look at the lows of the recent weekly candles, it's close to about 410 to about 420, which tells me that there is buying continuously coming around these areas. People are willing to buy at around 420, 430, and a breakout above 450, 455 will definitely fuel the rally. So this is more of a flag pattern post the sharp up move that we have seen. Flag pattern is a bullish pattern. The moment it crosses and closes above that 450, we'll be looking at a target of 500 and above.
500 and above. Any stop loss that you would put here?
So I would keep a stop loss close about here. Again, 375 would be 410 can be a decent stop loss, which are the lows, recent lows out here.
Okay, and you're saying that because of the RSI moving up, you expect this
yes,
level
so
to be
RSI
broken.
is showing that the momentum is again picking up in the stock, and the fact that we are seeing buying close to about the support areas of 410, 420 tells me that the stock is on the verge of a breakout.
Okay, that's the view. Thank you so much, Aditya. Gaurav, 445 is where TV Today is. What do you make of the charts?
Well, if you look at the charts, it has yet to see a breakout coming in. It is a good stock, no doubt. The momentum is quite strong. For me, the confirmation would come around 450, 455. If you look at the charts, it's the fifth attempt the stock is making around 450, 455 mark, and it has not been able to do so. I mean, it's not closed above those levels. So above 455, the stock can see a strong momentum coming in. As Aditya rightly pointed out, there will be a strong breakout also on the cards. Above 455, it can test levels of 495, 500, and in which case the stop loss can be 435, 440. At 445, I would wait for a couple of more percentage points.
Okay, 445 is a level that 455 is a level that Gaurav spoke about, that he will wait out before taking any trade. And Brijesh, quickly, what's your view on TV Today?
I guess I would wait for around 460 levels because it is hovering around 200 days average. So maybe around another 3.5% away from 200 days average would be a good buy for me. So I will wait for it.
Okay, so Aditya is bullish on TV Today, but the other two guests are in a wait and watch mode on TV Today. So we'll see what happens with the counter. The next stock we want to talk about, and that's Gaurav's pick, and that is Shree Cement. Let's pull up the chart and see what is showing up. It's an ascending, broadening wedge that Gaurav has recommended. Yes, take away with the strategy.
Now, if you look at the chart, from here, I think from 5 years, the ascending broadening wedge that we talked about, it's a 5-year pattern we are seeing from 2013, and it's been respecting the lower band quite strongly. So the current supports are seen somewhere around 16,400, 16,500. Also, there's, if you look at this trending line, it is on the verge of a breakout. So above 17,500, 18,000 mark, you can expect the stock can see a strong breakout coming in on weekly charts, in which case it can test levels of 20,500, 21,000.
Okay.
It's a low beta name. The reason that I have gone with low beta name, one, we have seen a strong breakout in mid caps. It's up by 1,000 points if I'm not wrong in last 7 or 8 trading sessions. Nifty is hovering at lifetime high levels. There's a possibility if there's a small correction or a small consolidation, the high beta names might go out for a toss. This is the time where we pitch in high beta conviction ideas also, which are not very high beta names. In case if there's a small dip also, names like Shree Cement or the names like Kolpal are not going to see strong correction from the current levels. So one can buy here. The stop loss would be 16,500 on the upside. The minimum targets can be on 20,500 to 21,000. This is the low beta name, slow mover. It will take at least 2 months to touch those targets.
Okay, so you're waiting if 20,000, if this line of probably 19,500, if I'm not wrong, if that is broken out, you can see levels in excess of 20,000.
Yes, that's possible.
And how long do you before you see this yellow line?
This can happen in 15 to 20 days. This breakout can happen in 15 to 20 days, but overall 20,500 can take a tad bit more time.
I just wanted one clarification. You said over the past 5 years, there's one line that this stock is not broken. What are you referring to?
So if you look at the from here, if this particular line, if you draw a line from this particular level, it's been supporting that.
Okay,
right, this
the
one.
white line.
Yeah. Here, this one.
Okay.
I mean, probably we are not drawn over here, but there's a if you draw a line from here, if I can go back a little bit more, this is the average. I'm talking of line. If you draw a line from here, from these levels on a weekly chart, it coincides over the level of this particular level.
So this acts as a big support level for the market.
This is a strong support.
This is approximately 16,500.
16,500. It's a very strong support area. Very less chance of it breaking out. We have seen, if you compare it with its peers, ACC, it was trading in a 10-year channel, gave a breakdown, fell by 200 rupees, and now after the quarter numbers announced, it has again touched upon those levels. Similar with Ambuja, it gave a breakdown, took support from 196, but this is only stock that has not broken the support area, the particular trend I'm talking about. This is the only stock. So this is one of the most safer stock you can talk about, which has not given a breakdown so far, on the verge of a strong breakout. Trading in the support area, a lot of ingredients are there for a good upside from the current level.
Okay, so Shree Cement, thank you so much, Gaurav. We'll go to our guest very quickly, Brijesh, very quickly. Shree Cement.
Yeah, I would also go for a buy. A couple of things. If you look at the weekly chart, the RSI has given a trendline breakout, and if you look at the daily chart, it has again reclaimed the 200 days average. So I think if there is a view for medium-term point of view, say 3 to 4 months, I think 19,500 levels would be the target I was expecting for a quarter time frame.
Okay, that's a bullish call. And Aditya, what's your view?
The two concerns for me, one is volume. It's an extremely thinly traded stock. So if I talk of volumes, there are about only 4,000 shares which have been traded in trade today. And second, if I take a look at the monthly chart, stock has been in a sideways consolidation from April 2017 onwards. Stock hasn't done really much. On the upside, again, 19,500 is the resistance. On the downside, 15,100 is the support. For the stock, there's no momentum in the stock. Stock is clearly losing out on momentum. So probably I'll buy close to about 15,000 and keep a stop close to about 13,800. The only fact, the two major concerns remain the same, that it's extremely thinly traded stock, and second, there's no momentum in the stock. So this is more of a CAGR stock where you buy and keep it for years, and the stock just continues to grow.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Shree Cement, and we need to move on to the last stock, and that is Yes Bank, which Brijesh has recommended. Let's pull up the chart, and Brijesh can explain to us why he's bullish on Yes Bank.
Yeah. See, if you look at the Yes Bank, the stock was majorly consolidating from September, October to the July in a inverted head and shoulder pattern, which is generally the bullish pattern. And if you look at the recent breakouts, the prices have breakout at around 365, 368 zone. Okay, it made a high of around 95, 96 and back to retest levels. Okay, if you look at these selling pressures at highs, but the following candles, the following weekly candle was again a bullish. So the follow-up selling was again the failure here, and this indicates that the retest has been very strong. And again, this week buying is the strong. So I think the target as per head and shoulder, so which is around 435 would be the target for Yes Bank.
Okay, and what's the stop loss?
Stop loss I would place at just these low, which is around 355, 56 levels.
Okay, so it's a bullish call that's coming in on Yes Bank. Thank you so much, Brijesh. Aditya will not be able to comment on Yes Bank since he works for Yes Bank, but Gaurav, what's your view on Yes Bank?
I will totally agree with Brijesh. Very strong breakout. It's retested the breakout line, and again now showing the uptick. And after, if you look at the future segment, it's seen some of short covering. Now fresh longs are seen getting well. Today we have seen about 3% OI addition happening. On the verge of a strong breakout, it can test levels of 425 to 440.
Okay, so it's a bullish view that's coming in on Yes Bank. And finally, another bank, Jayesh is back with us. One more chart that the Bloomberg terminal has thrown up, and that's Kotak Mahindra Bank. What is it saying?
That's right, Darshan. In fact, there's a bullish engulfing pattern which is on the verge verge of getting formed. Now what the bullish engulfing is, you have to look at the most recent 2 candles, and you have to look for a bullish candle which has to be preceded by a bearish candle. So this is the last 2 candles that I'm referring to. You can see that there's a red candle here, and the immediate next green candle, that is in fact when we zoom into this, it is bigger in size than the red candle itself. So that's called as the bullish engulfing. And also we have seen in today's market that the Bank Nifty has in fact outperformed the Nifty itself. Last time I checked, Bank Nifty was up about 0.8% versus 0.5% gain for the Nifty, and we know that Kotak Mahindra Bank has a heavy weight on the Nifty Bank itself. So if this goes higher, probably can drive the market going forward as well.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in Kotak Bank. We'll take one view quickly. Brijesh, I'll start with you. The counter has corrected significantly. Now it's come down to levels of below 1300. What should one do in Kotak Bank?
I would probably wait for around 1250, 1260 levels to go along, which is the trend line support. As of now, I'll slightly wait or about 1313, 1314 levels will be confirmation for the reversal.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. Gaurav, Kotak Bank, what should one do?
One can buy here. There's a strong support that we are seeing at 1275, 1280 zone, and not too much of short positions getting in. Already corrected quite a bit from 1350, 1400 levels. We've already seen good amount of correction coming in, trading near the support area. One can have a stop of 1275 on the upside. 1340, 1350 can be seen.
Okay, so it's a bullish call that's coming in. And Aditya, would you buy Kotak at these levels?
Yes, I would agree with Gaurav. It's taken support at 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level, which is close to about 1270. And one thing to notice is stock doesn't break its 100 DMA on the daily moving average from the time that the stock has resumed its uptrend from 2017. Stock hasn't broken its to 100 DMA. The moment it comes close to the 100 DMA, stock bounces back. The 100 DMA right now is placed close to about 1260 to about 1255 zone. Stock is 1295, and given the fact that the stock has corrected significantly, I would be a buyer. Risk to reward is definitely favoring me to go long in the stock.
Okay, so it's a positive view that's coming in both from Gaurav and Aditya on Kotak Bank. Brijesh would be wait and watch mode until it comes out to lower level, or unless there is a breakout on Kotak Bank. But with that, we're completely timed out on today's Hot Money. Brijesh, thank you so much for coming in. Gaurav, thanks, and Aditya, thank you so much for coming on this show. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.